kindly hosted this evening by Onfido. We'll be hearing from them very shortly, a little bit about what they do. We've got a talk from Rahul over here. Normally we have about 4 NSLondon events per year, 1 per quarter. We had a bit of extra time this year, so we decided to fit in a 5th event. Yeah. Whoever's cheering at the back there. Cool, so a few things to talk about. So obviously we've got the Vision Pro coming early next year, so hopefully people are excited about that. We also had the Apple event on Monday. I'm sure most of you saw it. Many people see it? Show of hands? Yeah, okay, cool. So a couple of things were announced in there, namely some chips which I shall not name. You'll find out why I'm not talking about them in a second. Because rather than just spit facts at you, I am going to ask you for a little bit of audience participation tonight. So if you scan the QR code on here, you'll be asked to join a quiz essentially. So you can either download the Slido app from the App Store, or you can just use your web browser if you don't want to download the app, but being app people, you might want to get the app. And I'll switch over. So hopefully, can you see a poll when you join? The QR code's also on here, by the way. So first of all, I was interested to see how many people are actually working on a Vision Pro app ready for next year.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You can't see anything. But some people can see something, obviously, and some people can't, which is weird.
Only 6 people are.
It only works on the app.
Yeah, it doesn't work in the browser.
It just says get ready.
Oh, okay.
I'm ready.
I guess the first poll should be who gets get ready if you actually.
If you're on the app and you go to live interaction from the left-hand menu, you should see the poll.
40 people waiting on the browser.
Oh, interesting. Let me try in the web browser. Well, it seems like not many people are working on a Vision Pro app at the moment. Are people excited for the Vision Pro though? Yeah. Cool. It's working for some people. Maybe try getting the app if you don't want to use the web browser. It seems like it's working better for people. Are many people planning on buying Vision Pro? Couple. It's very expensive. Okay, I've got a little quiz for you based on the event on Monday, so let's see how this goes. So, first question. Which 3 chips were announced at Apple's Scary Fast event on Monday? You've got a timer, so limited amount of time to get your answers in. So the answers were the M3, M3 Pro, and M3 Max. Looks like most people got it right. That was a nice easy one to start with. I threw in a few curveballs like M3 Ultra and stuff like that, but they're made up, I'm afraid. Scroll down to see all 3 correct answers. Tim Apple is leading the way. Okay, next question. Which chips can be found in the new iMac? Timed again, so get your answers in quickly. Cool, so most people have gone with the M3. Is that the correct answer? We'll find out in a moment. Yeah, so 53% of you were correct. Well done. Let's see who's leading the way again. Oh, okay, no leaderboard this time, never mind. Let's just go into another question. So which chips can be found now in the new 14-inch MacBook? So the 14-inch part is important to this question. See what the answers are in a moment. So it looks like most people have gone with M3 and M3 Pro. Slightly fewer people have gone with M3 Max. So if you're going with a 14-inch MacBook, you can either choose from an M3 or an M3 Pro. Leaderboard has changed. WV, whoever you are you doing well? Next question. So what colors are the new MacBook Pro models available in? Is it Halloween green? Okay, spread of answers. So most people have gone with space grey, silver, space black, very popular options. Are they correct options though? They are, well done you. Cool, on to the next question. I won't keep you in suspense. So which chips can be found in the new 16-inch MacBook Pro? So again, 16-inch this time is the important part to this question. The faster you are to get your answers in, the higher you'll be on the leaderboard. Cool, okay, most people have gone with M3 Pro and M3 Max. It looks like you were paying attention because those are the correct answers. And the next question is a little bit different because it's actually not about the event on Monday at all. So A, very succinct name there. You're doing well now. Let's see if you can do well on the last question. So, last question. Where can NSLondon be found online? So this is not at all a shameless plug. Is it Snapchat? Is it Tinder? Is it YouTube? Time's up, so let's see what the answers are. Most people have gone with Meetup, probably how you found this event, to be honest. And then X is quite popular, formerly the artist known as Twitter. LinkedIn, YouTube, all good options. They are correct options as well. Congratulations, A, you're the winner wherever you are. Well done, round of applause. Cool, alright, well I hope you enjoyed that. I thought it'd be a little bit more fun rather than just giving you the facts from Monday. Looks like you were paying attention to the event on Monday as well. So, if you're not aware, we do have a social presence on Meetup obviously, which is probably how you came here. LinkedIn as well, not many people know that we're on LinkedIn, but if you are on LinkedIn, maybe give us a follow there if you want to keep up with the latest. We've got a presence on YouTube, so we quite often share speaker recordings on there. And if you ever want to get in contact with us, you can always email us at hello@nslondon.com as well. Cool. So, we've got 3 great talks for you this evening coming up. The first one from Rahul from Onfido. he's going to be giving you a little bit of a demo of the product. Then we're going to go to Muralidharan. He's going to give the talk on how to create a good pull request and how to review one. We'll have a little break after that in between the talks, and then we've got the third and final talk for you from Nikita. He's going to tell you about how to get more in-app subscriptions. So if you give us just a moment, we'll swap machines and we'll get started on the first talk.
Thank you all for coming. My name is Rahul Amin. I'm one of the co-founders and chief architect of Onfido. Onfido is all about simplifying digital identity for everyone. And the challenge we're trying to solve is that we see increasingly access to services is through your identity. And we want to provide a way of providing access to those services in a really simple and easy way. So over the last decade or so, Onfido has been building machine learning powered software and verification services to allow people to access those services, whether that be in banking, whether that be in car sharing, whether that be in accessing healthcare. Onfido provides the ability to our users to go off and verify their identity. And I'll show you a little bit of how we do that later on in this presentation. But through that technology, we're allowing our customers to kind of reduce their costs, reduce the number of frauds that they see, because identity is such a crucial part of getting access to, let's say, a bank account or something like that. And we've been recognized in various kind of publications, Forrester being one of them, G2, and many different things over the last couple of years. And one of the challenges that we kind of, as co-founders, kind of came across quite early on was this problem of the unbanked. So a significant proportion of the world is unable to get a bank account for one reason or another. They don't have a credit footprint, or they don't have access to some way of verifying their identity. And this was particularly acute for one of my co-founders, Hussein, who came to the UK when he was 10. His parents tried to open a bank account, and they very quickly kind of ran into this problem of they have no credit footprint, they have no way of kind of going off and opening that account. And that kind of sparked a little bit of a thought in him, in terms of, what can I do, what technology can I use to kind of go off and solve that problem. But he was 10 at the time, and that kind of idea kind of festered, and these devices became more and more powerful in that time. So we then met, the three of us, while we were studying at university, and me and Eamon ended up in in some banks, investment banks, and we also went through a background checking process, which was ridiculously long as well. It took 8 weeks, in Eamon's case, 8 weeks for an 8-week internship, which seemed like a bit of a ridiculous kind of proposition. Like, why is it going to take me 8 weeks to do a background check, which basically verifies my identity at its core, probably verifies a couple of documents, checks my right to work. These things shouldn't really take that long. And so we kind of started off on building this product where we could go off and do that identity verification much more easily. So almost over a decade ago now. And ultimately, the idea was around making it easier to kind of go off and access services through your kind of real, identity. So in that time, we now have kind of over 1,000 customers across 200 countries. We'll talk about some customers in a bit. We verified over 300 million individual identities through document and through biometrics. And we've also seen in that time a significant decrease in the unbanked. There's a significant way to go, but there's definitely been a decrease in that time. But with access also comes the other side of the equation, which is fraud. And fraudsters constantly trying to cheat the system and getting through it in some way, whether that's through a dodgy passport or a dodgy document, or increasingly now we're seeing very sophisticated frauds through deepfakes, where someone's trying to deepfake a passport or deepfake their face and try and get through Onfido systems. So I'm going to skip through slides just to kind of get to the demo quickly. But this is kind of the heart of our platform. So we do a number of verifications, which I'll come to in a second. But that's all orchestrated by this thing we call Onfido Studio, which I'll give you a demo of a little bit later. But that orchestrates the various different types of verifications and allows us to do decisioning. But all underpinned by what we call Onfido Atlas, which is our core AI technology. So we use a lot of deep learning, a lot of computer vision, and we've been doing that for the last decade. I know Gen AI is kind of on everyone's talking about Gen AI, but we've been using Gen AI and variants before that for the last 10 years. We've been kind of building up over that time, and we've been kind of leveraging some of that really powerful technology. So the heart of what we do, we have two key verifications. So a document, so whether that be a driver's license, ID card, or passport. We use the SDKs, iOS SDKs, to kind of go off and which allows our customers or end users to go off and capture those documents, and then we go off and verify that document. Is it genuine? Can we extract the text off of that document, and so on. We support over 2,500 documents across the globe. And we also do a biometric check, which basically ensures that you're actually a real person on the other side when you're kind of going off and verifying that, or when you're uploading that document. And many of you may have gone through a similar process when you've been kind of opening accounts on many different platforms. I'm going to skip through all of this and get straight to the demo, I think, just given the time. So, I did attempt a live demo just because I think I'm useless at them, so this is pre-recorded. So on the left we have the SDK, on the right is our dashboard, and what I'll do as part of that process, so we talked about Studio, I'll go off and actually build a workflow. It will be a simple workflow which uses a document verification and a facial verification, but it will also show you how we can actually use Studio to compose the SDK workflow itself as well. So we can actually say, we have a number of kind of UI screens, you can actually go off and orchestrate those UI components as well. We have a template library as well, which has some common types of verification that you might have for different industries. But in this case, I've just gone off and actually built one from scratch. And the idea of this, it's configurable, and you can kind of go off and tailor it for your specific use case or a specific onboarding use case. Different industries have slightly different requirements that they need to go fulfill based on their regulatory requirements. So here we're kind of putting in the dot capture screen and the facial capture screens, which are the kind of UI components. On the left, you see kind of the various kind of library of different types of workflow and task components that we can put in. So you've got different verifications, right the way from document, facial biometrics, and some other kind of products, some other types of verifications that we offer as well. Once you've put those together, you can also add conditional logic to kind of say, all right, if this particular thing has happened, go off and maybe carry out a different type of check. Or approve, in this particular case, it's a very simple flow. So what we're looking for is if the document and facial biometric report is successful, and we've actually gone off and verified that user, then approve that user. They are allowed to kind of go off and open an account, or decline that particular user. So you'll see me kind of go off and put that in there. So you have an approve and decline. Just gonna skip ahead with this. So once that's done and you've got a workflow kind of installed, you can actually go off and run that workflow on the SDK and the mobile device itself, and that will actually go off and run that workflow that I've just run. So in this case, it's just a document verification and a facial verification that kind of runs after itself. This is a completely native iOS SDK, and in this particular case, you see me kind of go off and capture my document. We actually run a bunch of machine learning algorithms on device to go check whether the device has been kind of cut off, telling you to kind of move closer, checking for blur, glare, and all of these things, all running on device. And the final piece that you do there to actually capture the image is actually tells you to hold still, and it will figure out the best frame to kind of go off and collect as part of that verification. Making sure you have the best frame and that best document is actually really critical for the document verification process further down the line. So getting this right it might seem simple on the surface, but it's actually one of the most critical things that we can do to improve the pass rates for our customers. So we put a lot of effort into getting that bit right. And then you have the biometrics component, where we're actually checking the liveness of the user, and it's just we've toyed with various different things over time, but the simplest thing we've come to is basically a face turn, and that combined with the machine learning that's done in the back end allows us to actually go verify that user. And so you can then see the results that are then uploaded back onto the back end. So it is definitely my document, and all the details extracted of the document, and plus the video that was taken as I kind of did my face turn, which we kind of go off and analyze. So that's a bit of a whirlwind tour of Onfido, some of the verifications that we do, and some of the products, or the studio product that we have. Thank you for listening. The one thing I'll say is Nick and I, come speak to us. We are hiring iOS engineers at the moment. So if you're interested, please come speak to us. And thank you.
Cool. If you give us just a couple of moments, we've got another speaker. Another round of applause for Rahul, please. From Onfido, who are graciously hosting us this evening. And another couple of minutes, we'll have another talk coming up for you. We're just going to swap computers.
Good evening. Thank you, everyone. So, before we jump in a bit about myself, I'm Muralidharan Kathiresan. I work as a senior iOS developer at Palace. So, I'm originally from India. It's been 2 awesome years in London. So, I created shiftpublish.com, a weekly blog about iOS development. Yeah. The plan for today is PRs, some real life versus developer scenario. What are the problems we are facing currently with the pull request? And then some few tips and ideas to how to create a perfect pull request and how to review one. And then time for some automation, few takeaways. That's the plan today. So the problem I see with pull requests is we only see them as a way to get our code meshed. So other than that, if you see the pull request compared to an actual real life scenario, maybe let's take it like I want to prepare a recipe book, a collection of recipes. For that, I'm going to seek help from my friends. So who will be writing the recipes, which may be their favorite recipe or their home cuisine, from their home cuisine. Once they write the recipe, they're going to share it to me. And then once they share it, so my actual role is to see that recipe fits to the style of the book which I want to add them. If it is a duplicate or what's the style, it may be 1 page, 2 page, something. I gonna check them and ask for any clarification to my friends if needed. So once the clarification or once it is good, I'm gonna add it to my book. So this is the way I just plan to create my recipe book. Here, so the recipe book is a repository. My friends are the devs who are contributing the code, and whatever recipes it's the actual features or the code. Once they share, that's the way actually a pull request, and once I review them, that's the code review, and then once everything is going to be merged, that's the actual code review process. So pull requests are not only in the developer scenarios, they are actually everywhere, what we do, the common real life scenarios as well. So why code reviews? Have you ever thought of why it's actually needed, why we are doing that? So in a developer survey made by Kodasi, when developers are asked what are the changes that really made a huge impact in your code quality. Of course, there were answers like tools, testing, and then few automation. But the first one that stood most was code reviews. Developers feel that code reviews are actually giving them an important value in the code quality of the project. So why getting a PR is always tough. It's not easy, right? When we create a PR and ask our team members to review and getting it merged, it's not an easy process, right? So let's see what are the problems. The first one I feel is long waiting. Once you create a PR and then it just sits in the queue, team members are not picking up, you don't get the reviews. So that's the foremost problem. Then one after one review. So what it actually means. So you create a PR, someone reviews, and then they raises like, hey, can you change this A to B? Then you address them, it's done, the conversation is closed. Then someone else comes, other team member comes, hey, can you change this A to C, or the previous A itself is good, can you revert to A to B? So one after one changes are really painful, right? You need to address. So that's the second point I see. The third one is delayed response in conversations. So once you create a PR and then you address the change, or you just reply back to them in the conversation, that's done. So there is no other follow up on that. So this is because people's interest towards the subsequent reviews after the first review is lower comparative to the first one. Then pressure to get merged soon. So we all have deadlines sometimes. So especially during the deadlines, it is tough to get our people who work in the fastest development doesn't get a comfortable time for review the PRs, right? So and sometimes we also take this trump card to skip the reviews and get it done. So these are the major problems. Now the other side of the grass. Why reviewing a PR is tough? So the first one is can't figure out what's exactly happening in the code. Sometimes when we actually open the PR, so we don't know what is actually happening, what are the changes are really need. So we don't get enough motivation to actually review the PR. Second one is too big. There are this is just for a graphical reference. I don't think nobody creates 6K labs. So whenever we create a massive PR, right, it just sets our mood off. We can't even know where to start and what are the actual things we need to review. So it's very tough when we see a massive PR. And then in our daily busy schedule, so this is similar to the deadline, it's actually tough to allocate a dedicated time and do the PR reviews. So we have seen the problems both from the author's side and the reviewer's side. Now let's see how we can get rid of these problems. So the first one is, before even creating the PR, the point to address this problem starts from the commit itself. So if you see this commit, can you able to understand anything? Is it enough to tell what are the changes are? No, right? Let's see this one. So here this tells adds adder feature into the tag bar or added. So each and every commit has to be clearly written. So whenever we see, actually consider like this. PRs are a group of commits. So when we see each commit, it should tell the story how this particular change is driven. So when you have a clear commit history, it starts to the good PR review process. Then keep pull requests atomic as much as possible. So if you create a small PR, it will be really beneficial to start the PR in this. Like if you see 10 lines of code, 10 issues, 500 lines looks fine, maybe 1K lines looks perfect. So always keep the PRs as small as possible. The next one is why this size is important. So there is another survey from the Codacity. PRs under 200 difference get merged as twice as fast. So if you can able to see only 200 lines of changes, 200 is, then it is easy to get reviewed. So also there is one more studies which found out at that time a person can't able to go through more than 400 lines of code. After that, the power to find, analyze the code, it diminishes. So if it is 200 lines, it is very easy to get merged as fast. Another one more point we found out in the study is PRs under 15 minutes review times is also picked 20x faster than the other ones. So basically what here is the idea is if you create a small PR with reasonable changes, it motivates the reviewer to get it reviewed and merge it faster. So another important change is provide proper information about the PR. If you see this PR, it just tells adds order feature to app, unit test added. So what it exactly does, what are the changes, why you have done these changes, there is no information, right? So let's see this one. So here you can able to see what is this PR about. So it tells clearly there is a order execution feature is added, what is the background context, and it helps us to see from which file you need to start reviewing. So it will be very easy. And then a graphical representation sometimes. You can add how was the screen before and after adding these changes, how was it? Maybe a screenshot or a GIF. And sometimes just credits or what are the references you can able to share this with them. So it gives a clear understanding how we can create effective PRs. The next one is we have seen that PR description plays a major role, right? So to make it better, PR templates helps us. If you have a template with the agreement or with the understanding of your team, whichever works for you, you can have a template. Just create a markdown file and add it in your project directory. So you can, whenever someone wants to create it, they can able to add the default information. It looks like a guide so that they can follow these informations. Yeah. You can create multiple templates, one for the future, one for the bug, one for the POC. Yeah. The next one is be your own reviewer. Sometimes you may feel like I explain what is this line. For example, if you use a particular new property or something, you can add your own comments. So that will also help us people to understand what is this exactly done. So instead of everyone asking what is this about, if you be your own reviewer, it will help us, the reviewer, to have a better understanding. So response to review quickly. So there may be a lot of times once we finish the work, we raise a PR and then we move to the next part of the work, right? And then context switching is in trouble. So in that cases, if you can able to respond the comments as soon as possible, the other reviewers don't have to raise the same comments or confused what is it actually happening. So understanding the context, this is the main important thing whenever we review the PR. So our major role is to, if the code has the quality metrics, it follows the defined architecture, we have a lot of things. We need to review the PR by looking the line of changes. It's tough, right? Sometimes you need to check it out the particular branch and run it and then try to understand. So without understanding, it is very tough. So get that understanding from the description, PR description, or checking out the particular branch and then running it out. It will help. So never approve a PR just to mark your presence or just to get it done. So it is completely okay. You can withhold your approval and then just reach to them, hey, I have some clarification needed, how these things are done. So it is completely okay to withhold your approval. So no need to be approving every time. So don't be afraid to ask why. So sometimes we feel like some questions are there which we need to address. We may feel like it is a little small comment, or do I need to ask this? Peers are the place to collaborate, right? If you stop asking questions, then there is no point of creating it actually. So whenever you see a small variable name or that needs to be changed, like if you want to create a boolean, it should always start with a yes or something, a question mark. So whenever you see something, just even their pediatric comments, don't feel afraid to ask them. Those are also valued and make a good code base, right? And then reviewing as many as PRs is both a win-win. So when you start reviewing the PRs, you can able to understand what's exactly happening in the project, and then whoever raised the PR also got a couple of more eyes to see what is actually he's doing. So it is both win-win. So keep your own checklist. So if your project, according to your team, if you have a own checklist, whenever you are going to start a PR review, it will be very helpful. There are a lot of checklists in the articles are available. I will advise, if you create your own checklist according to your project and according to your team's principle, it will be very helpful. So how does a checklist look? Something like this. Are the test cases covered and passed? Do the changes follow defined architecture? Whatever is your architecture in Vim or something, does it violates it? And then can it be simplified to a better version? Is the code modular? And then does it follows what are the principles you follow? So if you have this checklist, it will be very easy. And then we don't have to be the paining person every time to raise there is some issues or this has to be aligned. So if we can automate most of the regular code review scenarios, it will be better. So the team can actually concentrate on the logical part. So one of the major additions, I don't know how many of you heard of Danger. So Danger is a tool if we can integrate with any CI. So it just reads the diff in the Git and then it can able to perform more actions towards it. So let's see what are the few things it can do. So Danger alone is a big topic. So we are just trying to see what are the minimalistic things it can do. So it can be able to comment the particular output from your CA after it runs, what are the test case failed, what are the messages from the shift link, so it can able to tell these are the issues once you run, and you can address them so that people can concentrate on the more logical part. So for example, now Danger Shift internally integrates the shifter link, so it can able to tell what are your linter issues that you can able to address them before even somebody wants to review it. And then it can also find is your project's code called test coverage is reducing. It can able to tell what are the code coverage in the latest added code. So if it is lesser than your team agreed norms, it doesn't allow us to merge your PR as well. And then some of the teams right now use Danger to monitor their app size as well, because sometime back I created a PR without understanding. It suddenly increased the app size by 10 MB or something. Then we started to understand we need to monitor the app size as well. So you can use your own scripts for that, or you can use tools which will be help to monitor our app size in the PRs. So last things, avoid being too serious. At last it's just code, right? So it's not related to anything personal. So respect everyone's preference. People can write let before or in the switch or after that. So it's their preference until you have the style guide for your team. So just respect everyone's preference. Never make the process personal. It's about the code, right? It's not about the person. Add constructive feedback so that whenever you are reviewing the code, so that they can also understand. And teach, don't just tell, because there are possibilities. If you just tell them these are the, can you address these changes? There are a lot of possibilities. They will be doing again the same mistake after some time. So if you tell them why you are asking the particular changes, it will be very beneficial to them. So now we have seen what are the things we can do in the PRs, how to increase the better code review statistics and how to increase the code quality. So talk to your team, okay, understand what are the current scenarios you have been facing. If you can able to address any of the ideas I just shared, it will be good. Propose these ideas to the team. Thank you. So this presentation is from my article in the blog, so you can also follow if you want. Thank you. Any questions?
I'm coming. Rogan, mic on the way.
Great presentation. Sorry if you said I think I didn't see it. You showed some metrics with the correlation between lines of code and time to get it merged.
Yes.
What is your source? How did you measure that?
Yeah. This one, right? Yeah. So there is a research by Codasi. It's a DevOps company. So they try to analyze almost 20K pull requests in different companies. They actually have tools for PRs and CI/CD. So from their research, I came to know that PRs under 200 lines of difference actually gets merged faster. And if the review time is just 15 minutes. So it feels logical to me as well. So yeah, that's why I wanted this. Thank you.
Yeah, it's related to this slide. More than a question, I think it's quite interesting to see that, because I think it's a win-win both for developers and Scrum Masters, because it goes very close with not doing very big Jira tickets. So
Yeah,
it's
that's correct actually. So the process to create a small PR starts from planning the task. If you can break the, if you want to create a new feature, right? You can create the UI portal or separate. Then whatever is the API logic you want to models, everything. If you can create it separate, so that can actually, and whatever the binding part you do, that can go in the third part. So people can do the review activity.
Thanks.
Thank you.
That was a great presentation, by the way.
Thank you.
I think especially the problems you identified are spot on, in my experience. What I'm thinking of is, I've talked to businesses that have hard time finding senior developers, and they have junior developers. And their solution to that is to use ChatGPT to write code. And then obviously the question becomes, well, how do we know that the code that junior developers write with the help of ChatGPT works? And the answer to that I've had is, oh, we're going to have ChatGPT write tests for that. So you can see where I'm going with this, right? We're talking about pull requests, and pull requests, like you said, can take a lot of time. And that time takes, has a cost. And in some ways, I can't see how businesses will get on top of it in a way, because I can't see how that will scale. Like these problems that you've identified, they tend to grow really big when the teams grow big, when organization grows big. So I can't help but think how tomorrow someone will say, let's use ChatGPT to review code. Because clearly, ChatGPT can write new code. Clearly, it can write tests. We've seen this. It's happening today. So, it's only reasonable to me that someone will go, why don't we use ChatGPT to review code? It has way better context. It's way faster at understanding how code will fit into it. Can write tests, can review, can spot things. So I don't have an answer to this, and it's not really a question. It's more like food for thought. You know, and I was wondering if you've thought about this. And also throwing it into the room.
That's very interesting.
Do you think the ChatGPT have Coke style, cooking style? What kind of Coke style ChatGPT will be?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand the question.
I'm saying, do you think ChatGPT has something Coke style? Coke style?
As a code style,
Yeah,
if I think ChatGPT has a code style,
yeah. Do you think ChatGPT has that?
Just based it on
coding
based
guidelines,
on
guidelines you can feed in and teach that as a part of machine learning, and that can happen. But yes, I think what I understood is very interesting. But again, all this comes up with product knowledge. As a reviewer would need to have the product knowledge. As I think Oli correctly said, that once we add a MR or PR, we specify what exactly the context behind this PR is. And to review that and merge that, one would need to go through that context and approve that if that fits up into the product or exactly that module, and then I merge. I think that only comes with the manual hardware rather than a ChatGPT piece, but I 100% acknowledge what you're saying, and people are coming with this kind of questions all the time. How can we reduce 100% of development time to 30%, 60%, with whatever things?
Cool, very interesting discussion there, but I might have to cut you off, very sorry, just for time purposes. But interesting chat, and we're going to have a break in a moment, so you might want to kind of get together and have a quick discussion around that. Very last question, and then we're going to go to a break.
Yeah, last question very fast. Thanks for your speech. Can you tell, maybe you can suggest our tools rather than Danger for automate PR reviews or to automate I know, checks and so on? Maybe you can suggest something?
Sorry, can you please?
Can you suggest our tools outside of Danger?
Okay.
Any others?
We have used two. I have used Danger extensively. We also try to have our custom scripts. Starts from the Git hooks and to the Jenkins CI. So we have written our custom script. It will be another GitHub account. So we try to get the logs with Xcow. There's a plugin, so it just tries to analyze this thing. I think other than Danger, our custom script, I have not used anything else.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Cool, alright, that's all the questions we have time for just now. So let's give Muralidharan another round of applause. We're going to have a 15-minute break now, so if you want to continue the discussion, I'll hand you over to our last speaker, Nikita. He's going to tell you a little bit more about in-app subscriptions. So, round of applause for him, please.
Thanks a lot. I know you want to go to the tavern, so I'll try to be as quick as possible, but I have around 50 slides about subscriptions. So first of all, do you have subscriptions in your app? Anyone? Nice, nice. Quite an audience. Even if you don't, you want to learn how to earn more, right? So that's why we're here. So first of all, why do I even talk to you about how to earn more from your app, right? I need to give you some background about me. That's me, by the way. I started doing iOS development since I was 6. Remember? Thank you. Some people there who is also from this time. Yeah, but actually I stopped doing iOS development about like 5 years ago, and I switched to product management. It was a long and interesting journey. I will tell you about in a second. but I also organized Coca Heads meetups in Moscow. Kind of the same thing, actually. Also 3 speakers, around 100 people, meetups every month. I did it for 6 years, so I organized more than 40 meetups, maybe 50 even. Yeah, so got quite an experience. The biggest one had 450 people, and we had 300 pizzas. That's some trivia for you. Anyways, I just wanted to brag, sorry. Some other metrics, right? I'm a product manager after all, I need to show you some metrics. Then, if you remember, I switched to product management, I worked on a health and fitness app called Wells. It's a regular fitness app with trainings, diets, and stuff. And I grew to 3 million users over like almost 4 years. So that's actually where I learned all the stuff about subscription and where to share today. I also worked at Adapti, which is SDK for subscriptions, similar to RevenueCat, maybe you know. We had more than 3,000 apps, so I learned kind of both sides, B2C and B2B. And right now, I'm writing a blog called paywall.tips, where I give tips on the paywalls. You can add it to the bookmarks or something. I will be glad to see that. In any case, I also did consulting about subscriptions. And right now, I work at Speechify, which is a text-to-speech app, pretty big in the US, as a head of mobile product. So that's the background for you. So I didn't take too much of your time. Basically, when I worked on the app, I quickly learned that if I want to earn more money from the app, I need to have first subscriptions, which is obvious, but also a very good first-time user experience. That's what I'm going to show you today. So the plan is, first I'm going to tell you about why subscriptions, why it's better as a business model, then how to start, very basic stuff. It could be useful for you if you will start your indie app, if you will launch anything. I'll try to go from the basics. Also some analytics and benchmarks, just offload it from my head, from my experience to your heads, so you now will, have some benchmarks. And I will talk about some unusual tools that Apple provides about purchases and subscriptions, and give you some tips and tricks. So, there's a bit of delay. Subscriptions. Why they won the App Store? Why they won the monetization? Because you can download and try any app for free, which was not the case with the paid apps, if you remember that. So it really reduces increases the conversion rate to download of your app, if that makes sense. And it makes sense then the customer acquisition cost will be much, much lower. Then power users that use your app for a long time, they pay you more because it's a subscription. The LTV, which is lifetime value, is higher. Also, you have a predictable cash flow, which transforms your app business into more like predictable classic business, and you can acquire investments with the subscriptions. You can show your cash flow. Win-win for everyone. And the best part that users, they're paying for updates of your app. So it's a fair business model. You continue developing the app, and they continue paying. So 71% of all revenue is driven by enough subscriptions. That's the result. And it grows. So, how to start? Basics. You want to have a piece of this 71% pie, right? So, first of all, freemium model. What it means? It means that some part of your app will be available for free for users. Some part of your app will be locked by a paywall. Why does it matter? Because first of all, about 70% of your users you will acquire on the onboarding, on the first user experience. I mean, 70% of all trials, of all purchases. But this remaining 30%, they need to try your app first before they are convinced to buy. So to give them something to try and to not break any Apple rules, you provide something for free. So first of all, you need to think as a first step, what part of your app or features should be free and what are premium. When you make this decision, you proceed to build in a paywall. Paywall is a screen that locks the premium parts of your app, which is obvious. And they can be very different in design, can be very different in how they present features, and it affects a lot. It affects the revenue, the numbers that you have in your app, a lot. And the offers is what you present on a paywall. As you can guess, they will define your monetization. So this is a small sneak peek how I usually go around dissecting paywalls, giving some advices and stuff. But in any case, you can check my blog, learn something, I guess, from that. So yeah, once again, the paywall is super important. This is probably the most important screen in your app if you have a subscription monetization. So pay a lot of attention to it, test it, have extensive analytics on it. Yeah. Think about it. As I already mentioned, new users, they usually start trials, and it's because 60% of all subscriptions actually start with a free trial. This is Apple's data. I think you know what trial is. So it's basically a free period, and it's modern standard of the subscription monetization. So only thing you need to decide is not to have trial or not, to be honest. You need to decide how long the trial will be. So it's usually 3 or 7 days, but it could be longer. Depends on how your users interact with your app. So onboarding is the experience before the paywall, usually. It's the series of screens that explains your app, asks questions, personalize something, and then show the paywall. So that's the idea. Basically, you sometimes give a feeling, to be honest, but sometimes really personalize the experience of users inside your app, and then you show the paywall. You explain benefits of your app. You say that it will be personalized for you. You will achieve your goal after some time. In our case, Health and Fitness app, you guessed it, achieve the goal of losing some weight in like 7 weeks or something. And then you present a paywall, start trial, start going to your goal, right? So that's the idea behind the onboarding. Sometimes onboarding is even more important than paywall, but it all works together. I'm saying all of this so to give you a perspective what parts of monetization is actually important, what parts of the app is actually important to revenue, and how it all works together, and to have some terms so we understand each other. Paywall, onboarding, what we're talking about, right? So, quickly about analytics and benchmarks. I will not dive too deep into it. Use Amplitude or any other product analytics tool. Your funnel, which is the sequence of screens or events, should probably look something like this. This is the first event, install. Then you have how many users saw the paywall, so go through the whole onboarding. How many users started trial after that, and how many of them turned to paid subscribers after 3 or 7 days. So if your conversion rate from install to the paywall, and by install I mean the first app open, and not all the users after install open the app, but I mean by install like the beginning of the funnel. If your conversion rate is lower than 90%, then something is wrong with your onboarding. Keep that in mind. What it means, after all, like you will learn quickly, that having a blocking registration on your onboarding, sign up with Apple, with Google, you name it, is usually just halves your conversion rate. So just remove the registration from there. Let them go through the onboarding, let them buy a trial, and register later. This is about, it varies like I said, paywall from paywall, the conversion rate here from the paywall to trial could be so very different from app to app. I've seen wildly different numbers, but this is about right. So it should be around 10-15% from the paywall sold to the trial start events. Of course, it depends on your price. So less than 10% for annual subscriptions, that's usually more expensive. It's okay, it's normal. So don't worry about it too much. And yeah, think about annual subscriptions. They're usually the way to go. Yeah, and then the question is how many of those trials started actually turns to paying subscribers. This should be around 20-40%. It could be higher if you're Netflix, I guess. It could be much, much lower if your app is not great. But you should strive for like healthy 30%. So it's not easy, guys. This is the hardest metric to actually move. So this solely depends on the quality of your product, the quality of users you acquire, how, like, is there a match? So this is the hardest one. If you see numbers like this in your app, you're lucky. You need to grow it. And just quickly, I mentioned lifetime value. You can calculate it. I mean, how much money your paying subscriber will bring you after all. If you have like monthly subscriptions, don't read days, that's an example chart. So after several months, you will know that on the 6th month, for example, overall revenue on average will be X. So you can know that you can acquire customers for X, or preferably less than X, right? So you will have payback in 6 months. Everyone's so silent. Like, does it make sense to you what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Cool.
Starting to think how much money we'll do.
Well, here's to more development, I would say, related stuff, which you can actually implement in your apps. All of the other stuff is more about how to think about monetization, how to build it, right? Now I'm talking about some tools that Apple provides that you can actually implement in your app. I mentioned free trial, but free trial is not the only intro offer. Intro offer means something that attaches to the front of your subscription that makes sense. Something for new users. You also have pay up front and pay as you go, which is, as you can guess by the title, is you allow customers to pay like $1 for the first month, for example, and then pay $100 for the year, right? Benefits of this approach are that honestly conversion rate from the difference between $1 and free trial, surprisingly not that big difference. Like, it's still $1 also feels like free, right? But at the same time, you almost, in a sense, making a pre-authorization of the user, like in Uber, you know, when you order a cab, you get charged £1. I've seen $1. Should say pound, right? So in a sense, you already filter customers who attach some empty card to the Apple ID, who don't have money at all, they don't intend to pay at all, so you already filter them in the beginning. But it could definitely not work for you at all. So just, there's some ideas that you can test. Promo offers are another super powerful tool from Apple. If intro offers attached to your subscriptions for new users, promo offers can be attached for every user. You actually configure for which type of user. What it means is that you can return back your lapsed subscribers and give them free trial again, for example, or maybe 50% discount. This is a bit more tricky to implement. You need to check the eligibility, but it will be a powerful tool. Offer codes. Well, I think the title speaks for itself. You create the promo codes, basically. It's an Apple naming for you. Promo codes. So if you didn't know, like back to the basics, if your app sells the content, you cannot use any other payment methods other than Apple, other than in-app purchases, which means in-app subscriptions mostly. And then it also means you cannot create your own systems that open the access to users. It's more of a vague rule, but what it means, if Apple notices that you create promo codes for app that sells specifically content, like a regular subscription-based app, they will probably reject it. So do not create your own promo code systems for subscriptions. Use Apple's one. Apple should pay me for this. Promo codes, offer codes, sorry. You can create 1 million in 1 quarter, which should be plenty. And they can be customized, so you can create NSLondon offer code and use it. And what's more interesting, they can be used as links. So those links can be used as a referral system for users. So you create offer code for 50% discount, and you let users send this offer code to their friends, so they will receive 50% discount. Why not? All the tools are there, just go ahead, do it. Don't expect too much though, it doesn't really work that well, but you can implement it. There's also some new and native, as you can see, Swift UI screens that Apple recently introduced. This is for the most daring developers out there. You can give an option for users to cancel their subscriptions right in your app. Yeah, like, you can do it. I had to say to you, like, you can do it, and you can move on, right? And also in the request refund, which is far worse. By the way, about refunds and changing subscriptions, small tip, it's not in the keynote. Pay attention to the order of your subscriptions in App Store Connect. There is like priority number, and it will say how users can cross-grade from subscription to subscription. In some cases, if your priority is lower of a subscription that got refunded, users, even if they lapse like after 6 months of a year subscription, they will be refunded a full amount instead of the 6 months of remaining money. It's hard to explain, just Google it, pay attention to it. If you see some weird refunds, you probably know the reason. Another Swift UI view, which is far more useful, is a paywall, actually. Remember those? So everyone creates their own custom paywalls. There's like whole SaaS businesses that lets you create your own custom paywalls. I know. So Apple actually disrupts right now this market, if that makes sense. They create their own solution, which is not great. From my experience, this is not the best converting paywall, probably. It just has an app icon, but you know, it's still there. You can still at least use some parts of it. You can use the purchase button, the offers here, subscriptions, and then you can create your own UI on top, which is amazing. Because there is so much data, there's so much information that you need to fetch there to display the right price and right offers and trial eligibility that Apple handles for you in one line of code. Just know about it, keep it in your mind, and you will work on this. Just keep a look at this. I hope they will improve the paywalls in the next iOS. They will, I guess. There's a whole deal with the StoreKit 2, which is new and upgraded StoreKit, which handles all the transactions and subscriptions. I won't go into details. You can read it in my blog. But in any case, one of the interesting stuff, you don't actually have to do anything, I'm just saying to you. Right now, Apple provides the messages that shows in your app if something goes wrong. And by wrong, I mean billing problem for users. It will automatically present in your app. You don't have to do anything. You can delay it or not show it at all if you want. But again, it allows user to change payment method right in your app, which is amazing. There's also grace period. Basically what it means is that, it's a tough one to explain. Like, so, this is your subscription period. It continues, as you can see, every month. But then, Here, renewals failed, they don't have money. Terrible. Without grace period, user goes directly into billing retry state for 60 days. What it means is that Apple will try to charge money for 60 days. And they will do it in their own machine learning algorithms that will bring you the most money. Remember, you and Apple in the same boat. They want to earn money as well. So they will charge them, and charge them aggressively. So that's good, right? But with the grace period, you can allow your users to continue using your app for the time of 6 days for a weekly subscription, and 16 days for monthly and longer. 16 days for a year subscription, that's something, right? So, in any case, this will allow users to continue using your app, and you can present some screens. Well, actually, remember the previous slide, you don't have to, it will be presented already, but they won't have interrupted usage of your app. And there are a lot of cases where billing issues got resolved on like second day, because they see the notification, they just don't have money right now, maybe they don't have salary yet, I don't know. In any case, grace period is a good solution here. You can just turn it off in App Store Connect, you don't have to do anything. Oh, and one interesting stuff, subscription is so hard, guys, it's like, there's so many hidden complexities there. If on, I would say, 15th day of the grace period, they got charged, they will continue from this date, and then all the next charges will be on this date. Does that make sense? So they can shift their subscription. Don't tell users about it. Well, this was a tough one to explain. This is much simpler. You can family share your subscriptions. Let users family share them in iCloud sometime. You can just turn it on for a subscription and basically create more expensive family plan. Why not? I guess to just skip this one. You can bundle your apps in App Store and sell one shared subscription for all of them. There is no tools from Apple for that. You have to manage it with your account system on your backend. But Apple still has a developer documentation on that, so they clearly want you to do that. This one, literally no one apart from me knows about it. There is an API to extend the subscription, and by extend I mean delay the charge date. How is it useful? Well, at least if your app just was down for like a week, and if you still have some subscribers left, you can change the renewal date a week later, and hopefully everyone will be happy. So quickly, some tips and tricks to be a lightning round. Remove legal text from payload, just delete it. It's not needed for like 3 years already, just delete it. All the legal text in the Apple purchase shit, it's already there. Remove it. If I just remember this one thing from this talk, please. Check if your subscriptions in one purchase group. If there are, you'll see a picture like this. Well, which is more important, your users will see a picture like this in the managed sub-screen in the App Store. So if you're selling yearly subscription for $10 and $100, your users can start trial, go to manage subscription screen in App Store, and select $10 instead of $100. And I explain why this happens. Everyone is A/B testing subscriptions, and to A/B test them, they have to be ready for sale. You cannot just remove them or you lose customers, you lose subscribers. If you remove from sale, they will never renew. But about that in a second. Actually, if you return your subscription to sale after you made a mistake like me and withdraw your subscription from sale and forgot about it, do not do that. But if you do, all your subscribers will fail, obviously. There's no subscription to sell. And they will go, where? Billing retry state. For 60 days. And then if in about a month or so, you like me will remember about this subscription, then you will notice some dip in the revenue chart, and you will get it back to sale, not hoping for much. You will be quite surprised how many people will get billed in a month. Just know that if you made this mistake, you can return your sub to sale. And as I said, Apple also wants their 30%. They will charge their users. So there's not so much critical fails you can do with subscriptions actually. I guess you already learned this, but experiment with the paywall. Try some wild ideas. Put a video there. Make it only one purchase. Make it 2 purchases. Make it animate. Make it still. Make it calendar. I don't know. Do something. Especially in the early days of your app, the wildest the experiments you do, the more essentially money you will get. Because you shouldn't test color of a purchase button on the first day of your app. You should test, do I have to have monthly subscription or a yearly subscription? Should my yearly subscription cost $30 or $100? Tests like this should be the first priority for you. When you have subscriptions, you will have bad ratings. There is nothing to say about it. Like, this is true. So ask for ratings. If you ask for ratings in the right time in your app, all those users who complain about subscriptions, which are always there, they will be just burned under the overall number of 5-star reviews if your app is good. There are always people who complain about prices. There's like, we can't do anything about it, right? We want to eat as well. We want to go to meetups, go to tavern and buy a pint. So we need to sell subscriptions. Just ask for review. Keep in mind how big is your price. This is Apple Zen award winner, and this is a clear reject. You cannot say price per month bigger than the actual price. Keep it in mind. This is price per month. Subscription costs $12. Don't do that. Unless you want to win Apple Zen award, I guess. No offense, it's a good app, they just, close button, do not hide it. I see so many developers doing stuff like, if user will stay on the paywall for 5 seconds, I will show back the close button that will be initially hidden. If they scroll to the bottom and then scroll back, just leave the close button alone. Think about the freemium. Think about the features. Your features should convert users, not that they can't hide the paywall. And this is also a reject, by the way, if you remove the X button. But no one cares. Yeah, and call to action is also very important. The text on the button is super important. Continue, I guess everyone's using that. Start for free. Just don't write subscribe. Don't write subscribe, guys. And everything I listed should be remote configurable. I won't say for what reason. For A/B test, okay? Not to bypass Apple review. For A/B test, everything should be remote configurable. For A/B test. That's it. Thank you. That's my X, Twitter. That's my blog. That's my LinkedIn. Subscribe.
Cool. Questions? Yeah. Basically, I think we've got a very short amount of time for questions.
One question.
I will take the roving mic over to our first questioner.
Thank you very much, Nikita. That was a great presentation.
Thank you.
So a bit of a two-pronged question, to be honest. The first prong isn't actually a question, but I looked at your website paywall tips, and
Thank you.
I saw that you'd written about strong lifts 5x5, and it made me very upset because I'm currently in the throes of an annual strong lifts 5x5 subscription, but as you could tell from my arms, I'm not making the most of that money.
But you didn't cancel, yes?
I hadn't cancelled. I
So it works.
but works for them. Anyway, my actual question, really good presentation. Something I'm working on recently is I'm sort of working on a Substack, and Substack is like you've got lots of free stuff, and then you've got like paywall articles. I've not really made any paywall articles. What I'm interested in, I've got like 200 subscribers, but like what would you say is the process for like starting to create paywall content? Like, does it have to be better than the free content? Does it have to exist when there's that few subscribers? What's your sort of take on it?
I didn't run any like paid newsletters and stuff, but I run paid community, if that makes sense. It depends. So I will try to give something that feels premium, even if it doesn't. It not necessarily means better content. It should be exclusive content, and exclusive in the sense that your users should feel like they're part of this sort of exclusive club, right? So you should really provide something else, not only articles. You should provide kind of a community for your paying subscribers that gives them a feeling and also the access to this community. So exclusivity, basically, should be your goal.
Okay, looks like there's a couple more questions at the back. I'll come over. Oh, question here?
Yeah. I'll be quick. So, building the Apple in-app purchase screen that came out this year, it's very quick and easy. My question to you is, how bad is it in terms of conversions compared to all the others that we've seen?
Yeah.
Thank you.
I've never seen this live, I would say, in the app. I've never seen any app that I do consulting for. I've seen some metrics that uses native, this new screen, because it's iOS 16 plus. This is the first reason, I guess. And the second reason, or even 17 plus, if it was released this year, it should be 17 plus, which is far worse, as you can guess. So yeah, I've never seen it live. But I can only guess from the design, at least that Apple showed, it shouldn't be very converted. But you can still customize the call to action button text. You can customize the top half of your screen, and most importantly, you can still build your own onboarding and like bring your users to the screen, which is quite a bit more important than like layout of buttons or something, right? So in the right hands, it could be very good paywall, but not by default.
Hi, I wondered if you could talk a bit about the performance of the video paywalls, because I haven't seen that many apps using them, but to me they seem like quite good at telling stories, so I wonder if they're like some horror stories with them or something.
I've seen some success with video paywalls, even myself. I tested this and it worked quite a bit better, but it highly depends on if you have something catchy in terms of the content in your app. So in our case, we had an amazing, professionally shot content with the trainings and like Apple Fitness Plus basically level of quality almost, and we showed it off on the paywall as a video, and it worked. But for apps that, I don't know, gives premium access to calendar, I doubt video would be a good choice. So basically, photo and video apps show off some filters. Those examples were actually photo and video apps. Show some filters, some effects, some content, then video should work.
Hi, thank you for the presentation. I would like to ask you about removing terms and conditions and privacy policy from paywall. What is the legal foundation for it? Because I don't think that lawyers will convince by saying, I heard it in NSLondon.
There could be. It depends on how big the NSLondon is. But I mean, you shouldn't remove links to privacy policy. Maybe I said it wrong. You shouldn't remove links. You remove the text, which is like this paragraph of legal text, like you will be billed one day before your next purchase. You get it. Links should be there. Some people even debate that because it's not clearly said in rules that links should be on the paywall specifically. It should be at least shown once before the paywall, but not all reviewers know that. So they usually look for the links. So keep the links, remove the text. And you can if you write me, I can send you a link to the rule. It's 3.4 something, so you can. It's better than Nikita said it on NSLondon.
Cool. I think we'll wrap things up there just to for the benefits of the time. I think that we timed that very well, though. Thanks.